Welcome back, everyone. Next up, we have Endexx Corporation. It trades on the OTC Pink sheets under the symbol EDXC, and through its operating division, CBD Unlimited, it develops and distributes all natural CBD products derived from cannabis sativa plant, hemp, containing less than 0.01% THC. Please welcome its CEO and chairman, Todd Davis. Hi, Todd.
Hi, thanks, Anna.
All right, we look forward to the presentation.
Okay, so we'll do a quick presentation right now, and then hopefully we'll be able to open it up into questions. I'd much rather ask the questions that you guys are interested in. So we'll start off. This is the corporate deck that we've been sharing with the public here in the family offices and small institutions since the beginning of the year. So Endexx Corporation, OTC markets, EDXC, Live Life Unlimited is one of our catchphrases that we build our products upon. Our safe harbor, any forward-looking statements are forward-looking statements and only that. This is not stock advice, investment advice. It's just a way to share our information with you. Please read that carefully. Okay, so historically, where did Endexx come from? Back in, this is actually a publicly traded company since 1997. I got involved with the company when it was a biotech firm back in 2001, 2002, and they had tremendous technology that was probably a little bit ahead of its time. They did some physical testing on the product. It blew up, and management at the time just was not cut out for being a biotech firm, so we had to let everybody go. I took over the company and cleaned it up. We've built multiple platforms over time. We turned it into an incubation company for small companies that were trying to get into the public arena, but were too small. Fast forward up to 2013. Late 2012, I started looking at the cannabis market as a potential play for publicly traded companies. There were only 3 or 4 at the time. And by January, when we announced that we were going into the cannabis market of 2013, we were the 8th publicly traded company that existed that had anything to do with the cannabis industry. So that was the beginning right there. In 2013, we built M3 Hub, which was a seed-to-sale tracking system. It was very granular in nature. It covered agriculture, temperature, weather patterns, how to grow the strain the same way more than once, getting into compliance and tracking at the store level, and then a communication platform into government levels. We bid on multiple government contracts. We didn't win any. It was a little bit too advanced at the time. But what it really taught us was this industry is explosive, and there's a lot of opportunity here, but it was truly a mess. So 2014 rolls through, and the government announced a hemp pilot program, and having a background in the biotech industry and supporting companies growing through the biotech process in the 90s, I looked at this as the same type of opportunity. 2014, we announced that we were going into the CBD industry and that we would participate in the hemp pilot program. In order to get into that program, there was one objective that I really wanted to hit: dosing. How much of any of these cannabinoids do you have to take to get some type of value? How do you measure the value? How do you give advice to people from a doctor standpoint? How do you give advice from a dispensary standpoint or a retail store? So we really wanted to figure that part out first, and we did. We set up a series of trials with first with 1 doctor, and then we expanded out to 4 doctors. We did patient sets of 20 patients. We started at a very low dosing range, escalated up until we had average therapeutic value across the entire patient set, and we stopped right there. We did that per delivery system, per targeted area in the body that we wanted to address, and we came up with our scientific basis for building products on top of that. 2015, we started developing products, and we rolled into the CBD market under the brand name CBD Unlimited. 2016, we carried through. We launched our websites. We started getting into retail stores across the country. 2017 continued through. And then 2018 was kind of the big test. That was when hemp went legal. And we had already been positioning into large retail companies, helping them get through the compliance process. Companies like Walgreens, CVS, Mass Pharmacy that we had relationships with, and helped them set the basis for getting into the hemp and the CBD industry also. 2019, we rolled out with our first commercial accounts. Walgreens was one of those accounts that was the primary. They launched in a very reserved fashion. They didn't want to advertise it. They wanted to put the product on shelf to see how the market would respond, and the market responded. You know, they started off without advertising and continue to this day, but they allow for the sale of the CBD. The rebuy rate is good. The store count is good. And that's a growing partner that actually just launched a couple new SKUs into their system this week. 2019 was just the carry through. We were getting a lot of momentum. Coming into 2020, we were set to go into 20,000 plus stores. COVID hit and the buyers disappeared. So we retrenched starting in April and May. We landed a very large master distributor that was in 1.5 million stores nationwide. They were an essential company. They were in the marijuana, they were in the alcohol and beverage set. And it allowed for us to create a partnership in a very difficult time when everybody else was scrambling to how are we going to stay in business. We secured that. We found a major celebrity to work with. We entered into negotiations, and we developed a couple new lines of product, new categories that moved us into 2021. 2021 so far has been a big kind of resurgence for us. Our store count is increasing again. The master distributors is starting to increase their store footprint, and our celebrity kicked in right around the end of May. Executive summary, we started off under the brand name CBD Unlimited. We did try to change the name to CBD Unlimited with FINRA and NASDAQ, and they rejected it. They wanted us to get our filings more up to date. We were already audited. Now we just had to get our Form 10 back in place that it had went dormant back in 2003. So we did all that. We're now fully reporting, Form 10 filed. A lot of you that know the company, we went effective May 3rd, and we submitted in the amended Form 10 July 1st. And now we are in compliance, fully reporting company with the SEC, and we're moving towards our first S1 registration, which we'll be announcing this month. We trade under the symbol EDXC at 11 cents or so. We're sitting on a $50 plus million market cap. We've been as high as 260 million, 265 million market cap here in the last couple of years. We've oscillated with the cannabis market in general, and we're starting to emerge, where we can be a leader in this industry and start to move this company forward, possibly landing us in a senior exchange. This is a good look at our products. All of our products are born of U.S. grown hemp. They're in certified farms. I generally work with the same farms I started with back in 2014, 2015. I work with the same labs as they've grown from being basically a hole-in-the-wall lab to getting all their certifications, getting their ISO certifications, working with plants that are organically grown in process. Some of the farms are starting to receive organic certification. We still don't make that the big call out, but that's what we're pursuing. The third-party ISO labs, that just means it's the highest level of lab certification you can get, so you can rely on the numbers. We test 3 times, once when the product is in its raw form, finished form, and then we do stability testing and duration testing. Every ingredient in our products is functional. We don't have any fillers. We don't have any chelates. We have nothing but a functional ingredient that supports also what CBD does. We are THC free across the board, except in our tinctures, at which we're at 0.001% THC. It is full spectrum, but it's not at a measurable form. GMO free, all the good stuff. And we address the pet market as well. In any one of our QR codes, you can see these certifications and you can see our COAs. We leave them in there from a historical standpoint, our archive standpoint. They're always available, and these are all the certifications that are required. We're adding one more certification called NSF, which is kind of the king of compliance in the world of snacks and beverages, food, and cosmetics. Better products, better you. We coined that phrase a few years ago, and now everybody on the TV is saying better product, better something, better you. So I don't know if we were first, but it sure feels like we're being copied a lot. It's everywhere. We love it. We do make the best products in the market. We don't skimp. If a product doesn't sell, it doesn't sell, but we never make an inferior product. And this year, in 2020, we were introducing this premium look. This is our look where it carries, anywhere from a 2.5% to 4% concentration in the product. We added impulse buy products where you could buy at the countertop. We have everything here is designed to reduce anxiety, reduce pain, support the reduction of inflammation across the body to help with symptoms that people deal with on a daily basis. And when you talk about our core mission, it's the genuine concern for the well-being of others. By definition, that is love. And that, we build all of our products in our entire company based on that platform. We do have strong acquisition potential. We're also looking at other applications or other acquisitions over time here that either support our vertical nature of the company or increase our margins with high quality products. Distribution is still the key, in my opinion, to our success. So why do we want to invest with us versus the rest of the market? Almost every company that we compete against today is based out of the Canadian stock market. We're one of the few pure play American companies out there. We've purposely have not been overly aggressive. We purposely have not been over marketed or making claim statements about the products to the public. We do provide education, but we set ourselves up as a US-based company because we do want to be one of the leaders in the industry once the remainder of the regulations come into place. The CBD industry, while it has been accepted and it's legal nationwide, there's still pushback at state level. There's still some uncertainty at the federal level. And once the cannabis story unfolds here and all things become regulated and decriminalized and open for business, this market will flourish. It's here to stay. It helps people's lives, and it allows us to be a major part of that. Our strong distribution partner it's a company called Southern Glacier. They're a private company, but they handle roughly 33% of all alcohol and beverage distribution in the United States. They are a very strong partner. They're very compliant. We've worked with them vigorously through the course of the past 12 months to get their compliance up to speed where they can expand nationwide. We've been in 6 states with them now. We recently expanded to 9. I think we're expanding to 15 relatively shortly, and that will continue to expand as they pass through the compliance hurdles over the course of the remainder of the year. And if you look at it, from a distribution standpoint, we'll get to that in projections. I'll cover that in a minute. We're looking at, multi-billion-dollar industries. We have in men's grooming alone, which we launched into a $38 billion industry. And that's outside of shaving cream, but it's men's grooming. There were no products in the men's grooming set in any of the categories, so we built an entire set. And with that, we entered into a joint venture with DJ Khaled, a very prominent Grammy Award-winning music producer and affiliate with all the other celebrities in the world that are in the music set. So it's far-reaching. It's not just an individual. It's a community that we're addressing here, and we're going into the market with good partnership, good representation. In the women's cosmetics, we will be going into that more through our premium brand and a couple line extensions off of Blesswell, but that's a $180 billion market that we're looking to get into. And, at 1% of any of these markets, it puts us at anywhere from $200 million to $1 billion revenue company over the course of the next 5 years. The pet industry, we love it. We've been very muted on it. There's a lot of states with a lot of pushback from the agricultural departments, but it's starting to expand a little bit, and we're being invited in to present into the major pet companies and major veterinary and distribution channels. So I think 2022 is going to be a big year for that. We're relaunching Fido Bites with 3 different formulas instead of our primary formula, and that will address the needs of dogs across all sets, from young dogs to old dogs to unhealthy dogs. And that will be a great industry piece for us as well. We did complete our horse studies. We've spent a lot of time, a lot of energy with our team to build that product up, and that will be launching in the fall of this year upon the completion of production in September. Our goal is to capture 1% of all these markets. We may fall short, we may excel, but in the end, if we just take our very basic numbers, we're striving to be a $250 million company in the next 3 to 4 years through this entire apparatus. These were initially, Southern Glacier being our distribution partner, Walgreens being our first major mass retail company. These two companies set the standard for compliance. Once you go through compliance and once you go through product setup and you get through the entire process with them, they lead in compliance. So once you do that, you're pretty much set. And if as partners in these two spaces, we really have helped set the standard for compliance and how to perform safely to the consumer into these markets and maintain your licenses, maintain your right to participate in this industry. Blesswell. Earlier on in the year, we were addressing it under the name of our company called Code LLC. Code LLC is a joint venture with DJ Khaled through his Serious Promotions Group and our marketing partner, Impact Brokers. They're a 5% owner. DJ Khaled is a 24.99% owner, and Endexx owns 70.1% of the company. We are the manufacturer, the designer, the developer. Our marketing team has helped with the art, the brand, the look, everything that's coming out. We launched this product in May, right before the Memorial Day weekend. We had product placements that were snuck into several of his new album videos that came out. I think we were in four of the videos, and it's just subtly placed in there. You get a panning shot and you get eyeballs. You start branding out the name, get it recognized. In full force, DJ came out of the blocks, just letting the world know that he's got a new brand that he's passionate about, that he's behind, that he uses on a daily basis. And that has been our first month of rollout. So we have millions of impressions now. They're starting to make it into the website. They're starting to purchase the product, and we're getting the numbers really built there. So we know how to address this and also get this on shelf in major retailers. If you look at some of the industry here, we're long-term, we do have an exit strategy. If we get to 50 to 100,000 stores and our various assets in the direct-to-consumer e-commerce space are thriving, we will have accomplished the heavy lifting. Major consumer product companies are looking to get into this industry. It's just too soon. You have major players like Canopy and GW Pharma that are out there. That Canopy, where they're acquiring a bunch of companies, and GW Pharma they've been acquired. The bars are set. These are multi-billion-dollar acquisitions. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry. All of this without the U.S. institutional investors getting involved in the industry. So, we're one of the few companies that still is a standalone independent company. We've built our own brands. We have well over 50 different SKUs in our set that are categorized into health and wellness, men's grooming, health and wellness for pet, and the topical set. So, we're a well-diverse company. We've done the research and development. We've built the products. Now we're converting into a marketing and distribution company in the CBD space and the hemp space as well. Right there, if you look at Harry's Men's, they got bought out for $1.3 billion. Dollar Shave, $1 billion plus. GW Pharma, $7.2 billion. So, the big institutional investors, in our opinion, are looking for acquisitions in excess of $1 billion. We have a long ways to go to get there, sitting at a $50 million market cap. So when we look at this, for our investors, that's 10 to 20 times upside from here over the next 3 to 5 years, and that's what we're pushing towards. We're not worried about today. We're worried about 6 months out, 18 months out, 36 months out, executing on the business plan so that our investors don't make just 20% return on their investment. We're looking for that 10 times or greater. As far as our financing go, we have many options in front of us now because of the Form 10 being filed. We have options of doing S1 registration statements. We have options of doing Reg A registrations. Both of these afford us opportunities to work with investment banks to raise capital when we need it and raise the right amount of capital. We will finish our S1 registration statement here and file that in the month of July, and we're expecting the SEC to take at least 8 weeks to process. They're still just coming back to work in the actual office this year. They're behind, they take forever, and they can be a little bit frustrating. So the only thing we don't control is the timing. We are doing every effort that we can do to get everything done and filed before September 30th, the end of our fiscal year. If we drift into September 30th and beyond, it will be January when everything goes active. We'll have to do our audit in that time frame to make sure that we're in compliance for the equity offering, the equity financing, and the S1 registrations. So a lot of our investors have been asking us about that. You know, what are we going to do? What if we don't get in by September 30th? Well, look to January. We're not trying to rush it. We're trying to do it correctly. Now we're getting into projections here. We're going to talk for about 10 more minutes through this, and then we'll open it up to questions. In the core CBD and in the pet care projections, this is what we're looking at. So starting in 2021, we're addressing these markets. We have potential as the store count increases to escalate into a modest rate of return. Every 10,000 stores, every 20,000 stores, if you're doing $60 a store and you're moving through these 10,000 store increments per month, you're starting to get the 600,000, then the 1.2 million, and then you start to get your compound rate of effect. People are just coming back to stores. The foot traffic is starting to return. We're seeing our stores that even some that we thought were going out of business during COVID are coming back, and they're restocking their shelves, and they're getting demand as they did before COVID, and it's starting to increase again. So we're looking at very conservative numbers. 0.1% of the market share, 0.5% of the market share, 1% of the market share. These are the numbers that we're going after, and we're really trying to address. So even if we just get 0.1% of the markets we're going after right now, we're a $51 million revenue company. 10 times sales, 20 times sales is typical. At $51 million in revenue, that's almost 10 cents a share earnings for us as we're structured right now. So a 20 PE would put us at $2, all things staying the same. So we're using these conservative numbers as our benchmark, the baseline projections of where we're trying to go. And this is what we're selling into the institutions, and with their help and with their financing, we can achieve these numbers. Growth. We're only showing a couple years here, but if you go back to 2014 when we first launched, we started off with no revenues, no stores. In the first quarter of 2015, we started adding revenues. We started selling CBD online. We started very small. We started growing 10 stores at a time. And each year we basically doubled our revenues. Last year would have been a banner year. We would have had more of a hockey stick here, but it did slow down. There was a retraction in the industry. CBD kind of fell to the wayside, where cannabis and alcohol really flourished during COVID. People were looking for outlets to cover stress and everything else, and the foot traffic at the retail level did slow down. So we again utilize that time to retrench, solidify, identify the things that we were doing really well, expand our distribution network, and update our product sets and the look of our brands. This is what the projections look like. So if we just stay at the 0.1%, this is what it starts to look at on earnings per share or earnings overall, and this is our gross targeting. So over the next 5 years, we're targeting out to be a $500 million company. It takes store count. It takes direct-to-consumer sales. So with that in mind, we're going after store count. That real estate is the most valuable thing that we can pursue. The market is not dead. It's not going to be 100% Amazon all the time. We will be on Amazon to address that, not to slight Amazon, but we'll be on Amazon with both our hemp lines and our pet lines that are hemp and nutrient based. So that is something that we're expanding into later this year. We've had a lot of coverage in the last 6 years working in the CBD space. I get calls often to be on TV, to do different presentations. I get to go to financial conferences and present. Fox loves the story. Benzinga has been a very big part of us, and we've been featured in many of these other distribution channels for media. And that's going to expand. We're actually going to invest in that space a lot more. Here's your investment potential. The company is poised to grow 3 to 4 times per year, actually, in revenue up through 2025. We're going to expand our brand recognition through our distribution partners. We're going to support shelf with our advertising, and we're going to expand. As CBD becomes more legal, our retail space will expand a lot. So if we're in 5,000 retail stores right now, those 5,000 retail stores aggregately have closer to 20,000 stores between them. They're only approved in 5,000 stores for CBD. So we're going to introduce a hemp line into there that sits side by side with it, that provides different attributes and benefits to the consumer, but that will help us get into the 20,000 stores earlier, and then CBD will come along in the backfill to join those products on shelf. We have demonstrated good growth. We've had our challenges. We've been a small growth company. We've been trying to compete with big money that's been backing our competitors. Many of our competitors have already gone out of business. They overspent, they overbranded, they overmarketed, and they got themselves in too much debt. So we're one of the standing companies that are coming out of COVID strong and growing, and with good market partners. With the new distribution agreement in place, we're projecting revenues once they really take a hold and get their store count up into that $50 to $250 million with them alone. So these will be stores that we're looking to sell 4 units per month per SKU. Board of Directors, Peter Governale, Dr. Daniel Brandwine, who also participated in the trials early on, Dustin Sullivan, a former DMM of Walgreens, former COO of our company. He sits on our board of directors and advises us on all things to do with large pharmacy and mass retail. Peter Governale is from the alcohol and beverage industry, and Dr. Brandwine is a practicing foot doctor in Florida that adds a lot of networking and understanding on how some of the markets work and how to move the product into those areas. Rob Hasty is a senior advisor for us. He's 40 years a veteran of Walgreens, retired, and helps us on guidance into resale space and how products and sales actually work in the Walgreens and pharmacy world. Tim Hayes is a long-term advisor for me. He's 60 years in practice as a pharmacist. We've done business in the past together, and he provides very strong guidance on products that work long-term in the market that solve problems that big pharma doesn't like, and CBD is one of those areas. Dr. Daniel Kitty is a chief medical advisor for us. He's been on the boots on the ground with the majority of patients over time, and has brought valuable information that we are able to start gearing up for actual FDA coverage, and we're working more in the peer-reviewed studies of CBD. Myself, Todd Davis, I'm a 30-year veteran of the investment banking, specifically in the biotech world. 30 years seems like a long time, but the first 13 years I was a practicing stockbroker in Chicago, investment banker there. Ron Cotting, Steve Heron, these are consumer product masters. They're foundation and development of product all the way to supporting store shelf. They've worked in all capacities in consumer brands and health and wellness, and also in horse and the equine industries, and are quite valuable. This was an acquisition we made last year, and it's paid off in tenfold for us. These are the companies that we've been talking to. A lot of these buyers disappeared going into the beginning of 2020 after COVID was announced, but they're coming back to the table. So either we're directly speaking with them through our different conferences and different relationships that we've developed, or we have brand representation. Impulse Health has been vital in getting us into the mass pharmacy set. We have Beauty Barrage and Beauty Supply Group now helping us get into the cosmetic set. And our company ourselves, we've been reaching out through this into the pet and equine space. So these are all companies that we've talked to. There's a lot that we can't list here, but every one of them is being approached. Not all are ready for the CBD industry, but they're preparing. So CBD, be unlimited, live life unlimited. That's what we're trying to accomplish here. And that is the end of the deck presentation. So Anna, if we have questions, let's get to it. We've got 15 minutes to address questions and really talk about the company and its future.
Great presentation, Todd. We do have quite a few questions. Hopefully we can get to all of them. All right. Yep. So, and some of these might be a little redundant. Remember, some of the viewers pop on maybe in the middle of your presentation, so they just want to clarify.
That's fine.
So what is your strategy for the next 18 to 36 months, including your exit strategy?
Well, the initial strategy is to get into 50,000 stores at least in the next 18 to 36 months. If we can get into those 50,000 stores and show a progressive curve to 100,000, we start to get very appealing as an acquisition target for a major consumer brand company. That is our target. We know that does better than just being a great internet company. The internet and the advertisement will support the shelf, but in both spaces, both on the internet and on retail space, that's what's just going to create the composite value of the company, where we believe will be an acquisition target in that $1 billion to $3 billion range.
So is your distribution and store count back on track after COVID?
Yeah, we started soft launches in January. We started testing markets again, and it's starting to accelerate in the month of July. We've prepped a lot of things in the first 6 months of this year. We have purchase orders coming in. We've been approved, got our vendor numbers at several mass retailers. So products start going on shelf again as if we were pre-2020 starting in September. They become available. The majority of the buyers that I showed you there in the previous image, they're making decisions for January, March, and even June resets for next year. They've pared down a lot of their CBD products, and we're getting invited in to be a fill for where other companies have failed. So yes, we're back on track and we're growing and it's accelerating, and each quarter it's just going to accelerate more and more for the next 3 or 4 quarters.
Great news. Talk a little bit about how the launch of the Blesswell brand has been with DJ Khaled.
It's been exciting. You know, DJ Khaled brings a whole new energy and a whole different type of market than we've been able to address in the past. Primarily, we were targeting elderly people that were trying to improve their quality of life and really expand their understanding of the product in general. DJ Khaled, he brings a whole demographic. He brings men to the table, that 15-year-old to 45-year-old set, men of all color, men of all races, men of all backgrounds are in that world, and we're appealing to them through the men's grooming. Men's grooming isn't just a razor and some foam anymore. It's a lot of different things. And if you look just between me and you, our faces are framed right now in a business sense. Men need to look good. They need to look healthy. They need to look their best when they're going out and doing their thing. So as DJ Khaled would say, put your game face on. You know, it's time to get going here. So the initial splash is that we've got millions of impressions. We've been generating sales on a daily basis. Each time we have a celebrity spike or celebrity touch, we get a spike in sales, and the product is starting to get out there. We've only been live for a little over 30 days now, so we're very impressed with the numbers. It's attracting the large retailers. They're going, we want that product. They don't even care what the product is. They just want to be associated and have a personality like DJ Khaled involved. So, you know, our standpoint from that is in the first 6 months, we want to get as much data and as much impressions and as much real estate as we possibly can with the partnership with DJ Khaled. And over the next 5 years, build that one brand alone as big as we can possibly get it. It will be a standalone brand. So Blesswell has been a blessing for us, and it continues to do very well in introducing our products to the market.
Who's your current auditor, and do you plan to uplist to the QB, QX, or NASDAQ?
Yes, we do plan on it. So let me kind of give you a sequence of where we're at. Our auditor is TS Turner and Stone out of Dallas. They work with smaller firms. They've finished our last 4 years of audit now. We have 8 years of PCAOB auditing completed, and it's now in sync with the actual Form 10. So from this point forward, we're audited and always in sync, which is you're always playing catch up if they're not in sync. We have filed for OTC QB. We filed last year. We filed twice for it, and the application has been extended. They wanted to see the Form 10 done. So now that the Form 10 done is, we're going to pursue and get the OTC QB listing, and we're also positioning the company on a longer term basis to get onto NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange, a senior listed exchange. We don't meet all the requirements yet, but we're getting close. Things that will take place immediately is an S1 filing, which is a registration statement. The company hasn't done a registration statement since 2002, and it's long overdue. So it'll cure the long-term stock that had been sitting in restricted form and put everything into free trading. So the total amount of shares outstanding will now be in the float, and that will increase our market cap to far exceed what the NASDAQ requires, just from their standpoint of what's your market cap for your float, your public float. So that's mission critical number one. Second is getting into NASDAQ. Now, you have to get through another S1 type filing process to get onto NASDAQ, and you have to raise money at the same time. So in our case, we need to have a $75 million market cap float, just with what's held in the public's hands today, not the restricted stock. Second is we need to have the right stock price organically. If we're at 2, no reverse splits. If we're not at 2, then we have to adjust and get us closer to $4. And then the third thing is we have to work on our net capital. So our debt structure, our net capital are such right now that we don't qualify. We need to get to net capital of $5 million before we can do that. So through S1 or through Reg A, we're going to solve for that problem, and that will be the final step necessary to get us up to a senior exchange. And that, if we don't get it done before September 30th, we'll have to go 3 more months, get our audit done for this fiscal year, and then we can pursue it and get very aggressive with it in the first calendar quarter of next year.
So you are currently raising money?
We raise money on an as-needed basis right now. We can't do a true investment banking until we have an accepted S1 or Reg A filing, and we're in the final evaluation with our investment banks and our investment partners right now in that process.
So what markets are you in right now, and what are your expansion plans for future markets?
Markets for retail?
Well,
is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, retail.
Okay, so the current markets we're in right now is the mom and pop shops that, when we say mom and pop lightly, they're health and wellness and salons and pet stores. We have a wide array of mom and pop shops. These are 1-store, 2-store units. They actually make us the most amount of money, on a per store basis. We love that set, and we're looking to expand that. Our partnership with Southern Glacier will get us into more of those stores over time in an accelerated fashion. The second is pain. So we're sitting in the pain aisle in mass pharmacy. If you go to 20-some states right now in Walgreens, we're in roughly 4,000 stores by a good estimate. So if we're in 4,000 stores and we're sitting in the pain aisle, you have to go into the pain aisle to buy a product like ours. Ours are OTC registered products, so they officially can sit in the pain aisle. The second space is mass retail and beauty. People are looking for creams and lotions and different applications of CBD that don't necessarily have to sit in pain, but have additional benefits to other aspects of their life. Now we're going into beverage. Our beverage and our snack set is starting to be picked up again. So we'll be now expanding to further real estate within the stores. We had developed those products early on in 2015, 16, and 17. And when we went live with legality, everybody was afraid to touch the ingestibles, and they only did topicals. The good thing is we already had products. now we can go back to bringing that set in. That's where the big money's at. The big money is in consumable products where people have an experience, and it really does have some type of therapeutic value to it.
What would you say the percentage of your sales are online versus retail locations?
Actually, online is still outperforming retail. Retail is expanding. Retail, in the early stages, when you can't do any advertisement to push somebody to a store, we will do 1, 2, 3 units a month per store. In retail stores, they'll do 10 units a month in the mom and pop shops. So there's a good balance rate there. And then our online, we're improving our assets there again. Our CBD Unlimited new site is going to launch here shortly. Our Blesswell site is live and active. So we want to build up that too. We want to get back closer to the 10 to 20 million mark in revenues per website that we have, and support the overall direct to consumer side.
Can you discuss your distribution with Walgreens and CVS and any other major chains?
It's not, Walgreens is a wholesale client, so it's not really distribution. We sell directly to them. Every product they sell, we get paid on a weekly basis from them. So chain wide, as they sell, they cut us a check, they keep their part, we get the net value of that. On CVS, we're not in their stores yet. We're in advanced negotiations there. We should have some surprises for us coming into the end of the year on that. And these are all direct to the buyer. So we're not going through distributors on these pieces, on our large retail stores to date. Our other distributors, they have access to big clients, Costco, Walmart, Target, things along that line. And the major grocery chains, we're going to go through a distributor because the logistics are just too complicated for a company our size to handle.
So a few questions about your Jamaica venture. Talk a little bit about how that will add to revenue and just hash that out a bit.
Hash that out. It's a good segue there.
No pun intended.
So Jamaica it's been crazy. Years ago in 2018, I was invited down there by the Minister of Health to talk about compliance and different ways to launch their industry and do it correctly. So the Minister of Health, after we had our conversations, he invited us to come down there and participate in the industry. 2018, we filed for application for our retail and our cultivation licenses. We just got them. It took 3 years. This was not it was very frustrating. It was a brand new system. They weren't staffed properly, but they've really come a long way. Their industry is starting to form, and we built our retail store over a year ago in Ocho Rios, which is a major landing point, a major place. It's where the cool waterfalls in Jamaica are at. And that store is open. It's ready to be stocked up. So we just officially got our license. We went from provisional license to full retail. And that is exciting for us. That is a brand, a global set. We don't look at Jamaica as being its revenue source. Jamaica has its own brand of cannabis and marijuana. It's ganja. So we are looking at distribution channels into Europe and worldwide through that global brand, through our Go Green Global enterprise. So that's ready to launch. We'll have a lot of news about that come September, October, when tourism is officially opened up for business again in Jamaica, and we're very excited about it.
Do you have any plans on introducing a THC product?
Yes, we do. So once regulation takes place and it finally becomes legal in the U.S., we will pursue that market through finished goods. Same thing, controlled dosing, targeted delivery, proper experience. We're not going to be, the company that is out there to get people the most high they possibly can. It will be for purposeful use, thoughtful use of the product, and that will be our core business in the U.S. Worldwide, it'll still have a lot of the cultural aspects to ganja and marijuana coming from Jamaica, but that's more of a lifestyle piece, and we'll be pursuing it from that standpoint.
Todd, this has been a fantastic presentation. You do have a few more questions that we're going to send to you directly so you can answer on your own time, but thank you so much. We really look forward to your updates.
My pleasure, Anna. Thanks everybody for joining us. And this was streamed live on our Facebook page. So look for the new Endexx website and collateral coming up here. Go EDXC and go Suns.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Todd. All right, everyone, we have one more presentation coming up, so stay with us. We're coming right back.